Good morning, Steve Jolly with Benchmark Realty and the Music City Show, and I am so excited you are with us today on the show. I want to thank all my loyal viewers for showing up again today on Thursday morning for this edition of the Music City Show, July 9th, 2020. We have got a very interesting show lined up for you. This morning we are going to be talking about the bulletproof way to price your home, and I want to start out by telling you a story about a home I listed about 10 years ago during the midst of the Great Recession. And this was a bank-owned home. It was in a very rural area, but it was a nice home. It was newer construction. My clients had it listed previously with another agent that couldn't sell the home or didn't sell the home. And they gave me an opportunity to sell it. I gave them my price opinion at the very beginning of the sale, and they disagreed with that. It was about $40,000 less than what the current price they had on the property. They decided to stick with the current price and told me that they would reduce if the home didn't sell. So we decided to say, okay, let's go. We'll go for it. So the home sat on the market a couple months. They lowered the price a little bit. Sat on the market a couple more months. They lowered the price. After about 3 months, they finally got down to the price that I recommended, which was $40,000 less than their list price. And during that time, we had a handful of showings and very few offers on the property. And so very few offers on the property. And so what we did during that time was, so we lowered it to $40,000 less. Almost immediately, we got an offer right at list price, which was really unusual because, like I said, this was great right in the middle of the Great Recession. People weren't always paying list price, and this property was under contract. And so we got an offer on the property at list price. The seller looked at it. They assumed that they had lowered the price too far, and instead of accepting the offer, they decided to decline the offer and put the home up for auction, which was very unusual. Of course, the buyer was very disappointed and upset, and so I told them, hey, look, this is the seller. They can do what they want to with the sale of their property. I apologize that it didn't work out for you, but that doesn't mean that you can't submit an offer during the auction period. And so that's what they did. So the home went up for auction. It was an online auction, lasted a couple of weeks. At the end of the auction, the property sold, and it sold for $45,000 less than my recommendation, which was $85,000 less than the original list price. And it sold to the buyer that offered to pay $45,000 more. So, if they would have listened to me from the very beginning, they would have sold the property a lot faster. If they would have listened to me halfway through, they would have got $45,000 more, but they ended up with a lot less. And at the end of, once the investors, the bank behind it, accepted that offer, the asset manager called me and said, hey, look, Steve, I'm never going to doubt you again. I believe you when you say what the price is, and we are going to make you a preferred broker for our organization. And so that's what happened. And so that's the story behind problems that you can run into when you list your price so low. And so here's what I do differently than most people. So a long time ago, when I first started in this business, I learned from an appraiser how they price homes. So I'm not an appraiser, I'm just a realtor, but I learned to use their tools. So I take the tools that they have and I add that to the in-depth market knowledge of an experienced agent, and that's really the difference in price. Because I take the tools that they have, and then I know what buyers really want and what they're willing to pay for. So that's what I do differently, and that's why I've been so successful. And so here's why pricing is so critical. If you overprice a property, you could very well have appraisal issues. That's very common. If you could also, like we saw in this story that I just told you, it's going to limit your activity. You could have fewer showings. You could have no offers on the property. And then the third thing, after the buyers get the home under contract, they're all excited when they get the home under contract. And then it's not uncommon for them to all of a sudden have buyer's remorse and decide, hey, they want to back out of it because they feel like they paid too much. So overpricing your property can cause these issues. If you underprice your property, the problem you have is it's money. It's really simple. You leave money on the table. Sometimes you have to do that, I understand. But if you don't have to sell quickly, there's no reason to underprice your property on the market. And so if you decide to work for me, here's what I'm going to give you. And I think this is different than what a lot of other agents do. So I'm going to give you a small price range of what I think your home will most likely sell in. So for example, I'll say I think your home will sell between $310,000 and $330,000. Then I'm going to give you what I say is the most likely sales price for it, where the most likely, and then I'm going to give you my recommendation. Hey, if I was in your shoes, facing what you're facing, and looking at the goals that you want to achieve, this is where I would list my price. So that's what I'm going to give you. So if you're interested in maybe getting an idea of the pricing for your home, or you want to talk more, don't hesitate to call me or text me at 615-257-9696. And that number is right there below there. And so I also want to talk about today the market update for the week. So residential sales for Greater Nashville are still slightly on the increase, though this is the time we start to see things heading down. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But if you notice a few weeks back, the gap between 2019 and 2020 was much larger. We started to slowly close that gap on sales, and we're just about where we were last year. So keep hanging in there. And I think we are really close to being as good of a year as 2019 was, and that was a very good year for real estate in Nashville. New listings, the overall trend is increasing. We do see a slight downcrease over the last week, though everybody remember what last week was. It was Independence Day, and so there's typically a slowdown around holidays. So we'll see if that's a holiday effect or if it's something else. Showings are still on the increase, although you see a big drop from the July 4th Independence holiday. We do expect showings to start dropping off in June or July, though this year is not like a normal year, so it could even be pushed back to August if some of that demand is delayed. But I'll keep an eye on that for you. I'll let you know in the coming weeks whether it is from the holiday or seasonal. I expect it's a combination of both, but I expect it has more to do with the Independence holiday. And the same thing can be true as under contract. Again, although the trend is increasing, we did see a big drop off in homes going under contract last week. However, if you were lucky enough to put a home under contract, like some of my clients did, you found it was a little bit easier around the holiday because there was a lot less competition. So even though there were multiple offers on this property that my clients put under contract, there wasn't as many as I normally would expect. So if you're looking for some other strategies where you can kind of limit your competition, don't hesitate to reach out to me and we'll be glad to talk about those with you. So let's wrap up June 2020 since it's over with and the final numbers are in. So sales for the area that I look at, we had nearly 4,000 sales, which is just slightly under where we were for June 2019. Listings are slightly up, although that's a little bit misleading because for most of the month we trended slightly below. I think that's just a statistical anomaly. I would say we are right about where listings were last year. However, that's 10% down from the previous year. So we still need more listings out there. So if you're thinking about selling, keep that in mind. There's still a huge demand out there. There's still a need for properties to buy, and there's plenty of buyers out there that are active as you've seen from the information I showed you today. Showings are up strong, 13.3%, and then homes that go under contract or pendings are up almost a third, 33.9% or 32.9%. That is huge, folks. That is huge. Some of that is leftover pent-up demand from March and April and May being so slow. But I think also people really want the meaning of home has changed in the last few months. And people really want a place that they can call their own, where they feel safe and secure. So if you are interested in the price of your home and you're not sure what it is or what maybe your home is worth today or what it would sell for today, all you have to do is go to NashvillePrices.com, enter your address, click the Find Out button. We'll give you 2 automated values. And then on top of that, if you'd like, I'll give you a custom value for your home based on the unique characteristics of your home, the renovations you've done, the repairs you've done, and how you have kept that going. So all you have to do, NashvillePrices.com, if you want that information, and if you want those 2 instant values. So this is the end of the show for the week. And so next week, I'm going to talk to you about, will you take these small steps to have a big impact on your price? So there's some little things that you can do to your home that have a big impact on price. And for everybody's home, it's a little bit different, but we'll talk about the strategy behind it next week. So thank you guys for tuning in. And I want to say a special thank you for all my loyal listeners or my loyal viewers out there. We really appreciate you. If you have any questions, give me a text or call. The information is below. Take care. Have a good day, and peace and love, y'all.